going on, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Mostly Wrong Opinions. I am Tyrone. That is Devin. We are talking about the living vampire. Okay, Morbius.
I should have died years ago.
People all over the world have my disease.
I'm here
to find a cure.
It's supposed to come out in 2020. It's filmed in 2019. Pushbacks upon pushbacks.
It's about a year worth of delays. So this movie should have come out a long time ago. And it's finally here, and it probably should have never come out. In general, the movie's about a guy named Morbius. He is a scientist, a world-renowned scientist. And he's very famous, and he's pretty wealthy too. He's got a wealthy friend we'll talk about in a second. He's famous for making this synthetic blood. It seems that revolutionized all of science. But this is not enough for him because apparently he only made the blood to try and cure his own rare blood illness. So he, in a last-ditch effort, I guess, he goes and finds some rare bats in a cave in South America somewhere, and somehow he brings them back. I don't know. The movie's not clear on how he brought these bats back, but whatever. He brings them back. He does some experiments with them, yada, yada, yada. The movie literally does like a yada, yada, yada thing. And he experiments on himself for reasons that don't make any sense at all. And he has turned himself into a living vampire. He can
instantly.
Yeah, like he can walk around the day. So he's not like holy water. He doesn't care about garlic food or anything like that, or sunlight. He can walk around the day. He just has a hunger for blood. And if he doesn't drink blood, then I guess he dies. I don't know.
There's a lot of things wrong with this film. Pacing, special effects, lighting, writing.
I feel like you give the movie too much credit, though. The movie, all that stuff is bad, yeah. But to be honest, lighting is bad in every Marvel film. Every Marvel film is overlit. Pacing is sometimes weird in every Marvel film. These things are not unique to comic book films at all. But what's interesting about this one is this movie feels like it was a cash grab. It was slapped together. Sony realized they had a really big hit they weren't expecting on their hands with Venom. Venom, when Sony executives saw Venom, they were probably like, oh my God, this is gonna bomb. This is terrible. But it made all the money in the world. So Sony's like, well, let's just do it again. Hey, it worked once, let's do it again. So they've done it again. This movie is on the same exact level, technical level of Venom, where it looks and sounds like shit. And the script is nonsense. But the question is, will this just pump money into the pockets of Sony? And I don't know. It doesn't feel like it for reasons that I can't explain. I don't know why Venom is so popular. I don't get it. But I don't think this movie is going to be like that.
I guess the only reason that I would say that Venom is very popular is because of the connection that we all know that Venom has to Spider-Man himself.
Totally. He's a bigger character than Morbius.
Yeah, and Morbius is... The only reason I know Morbius is because of the Saturday morning Spider-Man cartoon.
That's exactly right. And I'm talking about that too.
Yeah, and from my remember, Morbius, and remember back in the day with the Saturday morning cartoon, in order for him to drink blood, he had to have suckers on his hands.
That's right. And I think they did that to make it look less violent on TV. Yeah. But yeah.
But it's a vampire. It wants to be a R-rated film, but they're shying away from it. With this film, when death happened in this stuff, it's like, okay, we're gonna have a slice and gulge up to and it's like you hear the sound, don't see nothing, but if you do see anything, the blood is black. Because they want to keep inside that PG rating 13, and also the synthetic blood is blue.
Right, it's blue. Yeah. But see, some of that stuff is almost okay. I can almost understand why Sony would be okay with this. If you remember, The Dark Knight was also PG-13, and the camera cut before there was violence.
And why so serious?
And it was pushing that edge to R the whole film, and it's a classic. So I see why they might be okay with it. The problem to me, though, is best illustrated through that Saturday morning cartoon you were talking about, the 90s cartoon that I know Morbius from. I remember Morbius mostly because he was like desperately in love with Felicia, right? He is going crazy over Felicia, and everything he did was for her. And Morbius was a villain, but he was also sad and sympathetic. He gets none of that here. None. It's so unclear what Morbius wants that I just didn't care. So
the only thing that he wants in this film is to be able to cure his disease.
After I finished watching the movie, I was like, how can I explain Morbius's personality? And it's very difficult because the movie starts off pretty well. It's like Morbius is a dick, right? He's got these people in Costa Rica and he's endangered all their lives. He's letting these bats loose, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this guy's a jerk. And then the next scene, he's getting an award for that blue blood that he's created, and he disses the prime minister or whoever it was that wanted to give him the award, and you're like, oh, he's a selfish jerk because he didn't try to help people. He's only trying to help himself, so he doesn't care about this reward. Got it. All this totally fine, but then the following scene, they flip all this upside down because he's with this little girl. She's sick, and he's like so worried about her. He's like, oh my God, I'm gonna make sure you're okay. And I'm like, I thought you didn't care about people. I thought we spent the first 20 minutes of this film with you telling me you didn't care about people. But now he's so concerned about this little girl. So I'm like, okay, so is he an asshole, or is this movie sloppy? Did they not realize they made him an asshole in the beginning? Or do they not realize they're trying to make him likable now? There is a humongous disconnect here. And the movie does not care. The movie just keeps going. This movie feels like a pickpocket. Like I could feel someone digging around in my pockets.
It took your money, cuz.
This is a clear
the
cash
film
grab.
literally bumped in front of you. Be like, sorry, sir. Excuse me. Let me wash off your hat, sir.
Yeah, exactly. And he wasn't even smooth. He wasn't even smooth with it. He was real rough with it. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He was real rough with it. What did you think about Jared Leto?
Okay, so here's the thing. I generally like Jared Leto. He's likable. I like him also because I'm a musician and he's the lead singer of 30 Seconds to Mars, one of my favorite bands. Top 10 favorite bands, actually. But as an actor, he has gotten the worst role after worst role, as a bad role. It's kind of like he doesn't know what to do with it sometimes.
He certainly does the most. Like he's not a subtle actor at all. He's very dramatic. He's almost like a Nick Cage type of actor, where everything is so big and bombastic. And I don't think Jared Leto can act. I know I have not seen Dallas Buyers Club. I know that's the one that everybody talks about. That's the one where he got his Oscar from. I haven't seen it. So maybe there is just one movie out there that is just awesome. Like, oh my God, I'll just be crying when I see him. But I ain't seen that shit. And so everything I've seen him in has been garbage.
There's a film that I actually liked in his acting, Mr. Nobody.
That's the one where he gained a lot of weight. And I haven't seen that one either. So maybe I'm just missing all the good films. Maybe he's just this whole filmography with Jared Leto that I just have missed. Because he has
a lot. He's been acting since like the 90s.
Yeah, and every single film that I've seen him in has been garbage. So I'm like, what the hell? I was joking with you that this man collects L's like Pokemon. Gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon! To his credit, though, to his point, this isn't some kind of Shakespearean play here. He's not given much to do except scowl and stand around. You know who I was surprised to see in this film? And I feel looks like he was surprised to see himself in this film.
It was Matt Smith?
No, Tyrese. What the fuck was Tyrese doing in this film? Bro. Tyrese was like, I'm in this movie?
He was phoning it in from like Tyrese plays a detective and he's one part of this duo that you could tell that the duo, the Sony wanted to get some of that MCU comedy into the play to where his partner was like the slapstick partner and he was supposed to be the straight man, and he's so straight that this is his face throughout the whole film.
Yeah, pretty much. And then he's like talking to Morbius, and Morbius doesn't give him anything, and he's like, And I'm like, dude, do more. Is there anything else we can do?
Do more.
I had secondhand embarrassment for Tyrese in this film.
And then they want to give him some type of backstory where it was like, your technology saved my arm in Afghanistan.
That didn't come back at all. But see, look, that's the thing I'm saying, like the sloppiness of this film. If they'd have just said, your blue blood saved my life in Afghanistan, and that's how we were introduced to the fact that Jared Leto had introduced and made blue blood, great, that'd have been fine. But they had this whole thing with him like turning down this as prime minister, and it seemed to inform us about his personality, only for them to contradict it in the next scene. So I'm like, if they'd have just cut that scene, we would have gotten that same information later from Tyrese about that he invented this blue blood thing, right? So the movie is sloppy. It's a mess. And it's interesting to compare this to like the Batman, where with the Batman, you could tell someone had something to say. So someone had a story that they were really excited about, that they wanted to film and show people. Morbius, no one cared about Morbius.
Yeah, speaking of Batman, this is the last little point I want to talk on before we get to our rating of the film. Did you notice the score?
What about it?
It's the same as Batman Begins. Play it right back to each other.
No, that's funny. What surprised me? What didn't surprise me? When you said, speaking of Batman, I thought you were going to talk about Michael Keaton because he was in here too.
Oh, yeah.
And
was he?
Yeah, no, he was not. He was in the commercials like he was going to be doing something. But then it turns out all his scenes were in the commercial.
It was in the it was the end credit scenes, and those end credit scenes were, you can tell it was reshot, and they were trash. Those end credit scenes are bad,
so bad, and you could tell that not only was it reshot, but no one had any clue what the script was going to be. So like they had Jared Leto stand there and listen, probably to a tennis ball, and go, and then the Vulture's full CGI, and his face is covered. And then there's like a voiceover. I didn't really sound like Michael Keaton, but I'll say maybe it's him. And doing like a voiceover. And then Jared Leto goes, intriguing. It's like you had no clue what he said, did he? Did you? He just said intriguing out of nowhere.
And then the fact that what he said was like he basically got there from No Way Home. I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it for you guys. You guys don't have to even see this shit. He got there from the No Way Home multiverse thing, and he says, I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. And then he says, I think we should work together. And then he's like, what do you say, Doc? And then that's when Morbius says intriguing. Why in the hell? Because they're trying to insinuate that this is a Sinister Six thing. And why would the hell, if you wanted to save people in this film, but you want to take out Spider-Man in the next, what's intriguing about that?
Worse. Do you know what Morbius should have said? When he said, I think this has got something to do with Spider-Man. Morbius should have said, Who? Spider-Man. Right? He doesn't exist in your universe. So why would that be intriguing? He just said he said gobbledygook. He said a bunch of nonsense to you, right? And so I'm like, why are you saying that? That's one. Two, we see Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, show up in that cell, and he's wearing like a jumpsuit. But in the next scene, he's got his wings. Where'd the wings come from? Did he build them? I
didn't know if he had any Chitauri,
where'd it go from?
Stuff to be able to make that.
He wouldn't have had it because the Chitauri didn't come in this version of New York. So like, what? Yeah. Where do you get the wings from? The movie doesn't care, and it's hoping you don't care. Pathetic.
And that is the blank obvious, like they don't care. They don't care.
No.
So that's why it's like when people that do like the film, I'm not going to say any names, but the people that do like this film, you guys is like, it's like, I don't see nothing wrong with it. That is a clear indication of what's wrong with it. Yeah. That they don't care. Why should I care if you don't care?
Exactly. They didn't care. No one cared. Like I said, with Batman, you could tell someone cared. Someone had a movie they wanted to make. They had something they wanted to say. But what was the theme in this film? There ain't no themes.
Fix me.
Oh, you know what? You're not wrong, and that is a effed up theme. So they pretty much like handicap people are broken, and all they do is their whole lives are defined by their handicap, and they have no other life, no other likes, dislikes, nothing outside of their handicap. They live and die for it. There's nothing else, and they are broken, and all they do is they just look out the window with yearning, looking at the people walking around and be like, God, I wish I could do that. Like, yo, that is effed up. That is so messed up. If you got disability and you watch this film, wouldn't surprise me if you just left. Like that. That's a really messed up thing to say. And the whole time I was like, are they going to comment on this? And nope, they don't. The movie just ends.
Let's go ahead and get into the rating of this film. With all the stuff that I said about what I didn't like, the bad CGI, the bad acting, the bad script, one of the worst villains in any type of comic book film. I'm giving this film a 2.
A 2? Okay. I was gonna give it a 3. Damn, a 2 really kills it. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3 because the movie's sloppy, it's messed up, and the movie has no focus. The movie doesn't care. The movie's just trying to make money. That's all it is. You talk about that villain. I'm assuming you're talking about Matt Smith. That's his name, Matt.
Yes.
Matt Smith. So interesting about that villain is these two guys were childhood friends, and then they grew up to be adult friends, and then this whole Morbius injection stuff, I guess, split them up because it's hey, I'm moving towards that exact point that you're thinking right now. That whole Morbius injection stuff broke them up. The movie could work better if it really leaned into the homophobic undertones of that relationship. Instead of trying to slap on that girl, there's something here with him, with Jared Leto and Matt Reeves meeting each other, falling in love, and having a breakup. There's something there. And what's funny is that same homophobic undertones are also there in Venom, and they're doing this on purpose, man. And so I'm like, this is a carbon copy of Venom, and Venom 2 smartly leaned into the homophobic, the homoeroticness of the film. This movie is more like homophobic. Like it didn't seem to like. It seems to it had a case of, they call it the case of the not gays, where they have a character who looks like they're definitely gay, but then they like give him a girlfriend. He's like, but I've got a girlfriend. It's okay. I'm not gay. This movie definitely has a case of not gays. But if this film leaned into Matt Smith and Jared Leto's relationship, there might have been something here, because those were really the only two characters in the film.
I gave this film a 2. Devin gave this film a 3.
I do not recommend it.
We do not recommend this film. This is a TNT broadcast film.
No.
Okay?
This is 100% vacuum the floor with your back to the TV type film.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. If it's on TNT, just go do some chores. This is a white noise movie. Not worth your time.
Yeah.
And even worse than that, I don't want to put on the impression that this is a funny bad movie. It's not funny bad. It's just boring bad. It's a boring film. It's a dull film. It's the worst kind of bad film. A genuinely unwatchable mess.
Yep. Well, there you go, people. That is our review for Morbius. Hey, we'd like to thank you for clicking on this video, coming to see us talk about movies. If you can do us a favor, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there to the right. All right? It's really much appreciated. Okay? And while you're at it, hit that thumbs up. If you really did like our review, it really does help out the channel. Or you get that thumbs down. You could be like, man, I love all vampire movies. Doesn't matter what it is. It is what it is. Twilight's my shit. Morbius is my shit. Blade's my shit. From Dusk Till Dawn's my shit. Everything is my shit when it comes to vampires. Whatever it is your opinion. But just remember one thing. It's mostly wrong. See you in another video.